Third and final race here at Snetterton for the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup is about to get underway, and this is the reversed grid race. So Aidan Hills and Luke Herbert, our two winners from earlier in the weekend, have plenty of overtaking to do. This is always a good one, and I'm sure this is going to be no different. Final race of the weekend then, as I said, the reverse grid. Simon Baldwin and Gary Townsend row one, Will Stacey and Patrick Fletcher on the second row, ahead of Steve Roberts, Jack Harding, Luke Herbert and Aidan Hills, the top four from the first two races. David Henderson and Bradley Kent are next, Nick Rutter and George Grant on the sixth row, Chris Richardson and Jack Sycamore row seven, James Blake Baldwin might not be out there at all unfortunately on the eighth row, and Will Stevenson excluded from the previous race, so starts from the back. So the 5-second board then is thrown. Will we get three different winners from the day? Herbert and Hills have a win apiece, but they both have overtaking to do in this one as a result of the reversed grid. Lights out, away we go at Snetterton, and Simon Baldwin from pole position tries to lead the pack down towards Rich's corner for the first time, but Gary Townsend has a good start on the outside line as well. Patrick Fletcher is the black and red car on the outside trying to make progress as well. But look at Jack Harding. Jack Harding into third already from sixth on the grid, and he's going for the race lead. He's up the inside of both Simon Baldwin and Gary Townsend as they go towards the Wilson hairpin. Surely he won't get through. No, he has to back out of it, so Baldwin will lead the way. Just maybe not the Baldwin that we expected this weekend. Second place for Harding-ish. I think Gary Townsend will have to give that place up as they go down towards Palmer's. On board with Nick Rutter now as we watch as we watch George Grant in front of us picking up a position. Behind us, Will Stevenson there, we can see from the rear-facing camera, is getting up the inside line. Aidan Hills is trying to get up the inside of Luke Herbert, who in turn is trying to get up the inside of Patrick Fletcher. But the order is Simon Baldwin, Jack Harding, Gary Townsend the top three, and Patrick Fletcher, already with two fifth-place finishes under his belt this weekend, is now going for fourth up the inside of Will Stacey. I think Will hangs on though, and Fletcher might be a bit slow off Agostini as a result of that. To Hamilton's now, Nick Rutter, the 99 car, looking on at still George Grant in front of him. As though through Oggies. Any change of the order? No, it will still be Will Stacey fourth, and in fact he's now attacking Gary Townsend for third place. Will looking for a podium result if at all possible here. Then it's Patrick Fletcher, then it's Luke Herbert and Aidan Hills. So we're only halfway around the opening lap, but already Jack Harding has made much better progress than those two have. That could prove crucial at the end of the race, because Harding is challenging for the race lead already. He's going around the outside of Simon Baldwin as they run down the Bentley Straight, into the Brundle and Nelson S's, and he's gone through. Jack Harding from sixth on the grid to lead 3/4 of a way around the first lap of the race. Brilliant stuff. Simon Baldwin second, Townsend third, a spin for Steve Roberts. Steve Roberts goes around. That's a real shame for the man who's had two fourth-place finishes to start off his season campaign. Fastest lap to boot as well. He was only 10 points off the championship lead. That will all change now, though, with a disappointing third race already. Back with Nick Rutter through core and quarter, but Harding leads the way. Simon Baldwin is second place, Gary Townsend third, Patrick Fletcher fourth, and then it's Herbert fifth and Hills in sixth. So they are continuing to hunt as a pack, those two, but they, as I said, have not made the sort of progress that their sparring partner from the earlier two races, Jack Harding, has, and this is now surely Harding's race to lose. Across the line they go then. Simon Baldwin trying to stay with him if he can. Gary Townsend is defending for like his life depends on it for third place, with Patrick Fletcher looking for his first ever podium and only his third ever race in the championship. He's going to go up the inside line, but Luke Herbert's in there as well. Dust flying left, right and centre. Who arrives at the hairpin in third? They're three abreast. Herbert on the inside. Fletcher gets boxed out in the middle, and Luke Herbert might get past both of them. He does. So Herbert goes from fifth to third. This is exactly the kind of early action we expected from this reverse grid race, and Gary Townsend and particularly Patrick Fletcher really losing out there. So that's not what we want, not what Patrick Fletcher wanted to see. It's exactly what Luke Herbert wanted though, because not only does he gain two places in one, but Aidan Hills didn't gain anything. So there are now suddenly three cars between himself and the race two winner. Down through Agostini, any change here? No, Patrick Fletcher still can't get past the AK Automotive car of Gary Townsend. It's an AK Automotive car that leads the way though, and Jack Harding is making good his escape while he can. With these reverse grid races, it is all about how quickly, if you're one of the expected front runners and front runners from the previous two races, it's all about how quickly you can get from your starting position to the front. And if you get there before your other sparring partners from the other races earlier on, then you're at a huge advantage then for the rest of the race, and you can potentially try and check out. We saw James Blake Baldwin doing that to good effect a few times last year, I seem to remember, benefiting maybe from reverse grid positions. He won 5 reverse grid races last year, did James Blake Baldwin. Mazda, it's no real surprise that that is the case, because James is a very, very good racer. Sadly, though, he's not out there in this race in Snetterton. The car too badly damaged after the accident damage this morning, so he is not racing, and will be therefore be having to count this as a dropped score. And you'd imagine, really, that 7th place finish from race 2 might be a drop as well. Something very lively behind, but for 2nd place, Luke Herbert is now with Simon Baldwin as they head through the left-hander at Murray's. Simon Baldwin coming under increasing pressure now for this 2nd position, but he'd do well to try and hang on to a podium if he can. Simon's never had a podium in the MX-5 SuperCup, so even if he lets Herbert through, he'd still be in 3rd place. That wouldn't be a bad effort. Big Rutter go across the start-finish line again, but there is Jack Harding, your race leader for 2nd place. It is still Baldwin ahead of Herbert. Side by side further back though, look, Townsend is still 4th, Fletcher 5th, but Will Stacey's got Aidan Hills trying to go around the outside of him. Aidan's just not made the progress he'd have liked here in the early stages, and he will be ruining that certainly, because he can see Harding obviously pulling away in front, and now Luke Herbert in 2nd place is likely to do the same sort of thing. So the battle, it looks like, is going to be between those two for the race victory. Aidan Hills might not be a part of it in this one. A long way to go though. This is a very long, hot race, so again, tyre management will come into play. We've seen various drivers do better than others at tyre management so far this weekend in the very, very warm Easter Sunday conditions. Very rare warm Easter Sunday conditions, some would say. But the sun certainly shone on this season opening weekend for the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 SuperCup that has produced some thrilling racing. Jack Harding would rather like a nice, calm, quiet, uneventful run to the flag. Luke Herbert, though, I'm sure will have other ideas. And he's already starting to gap Simon Baldwin. We'll have to monitor that gap between he and the race leader, though, and see whether or not he's catching him. If he can reel him in, that would be rather handy, wouldn't it? But Luke's not had a bad day. He had that win in the 1st race, 2nd in race 2. He's in 2nd again in this one. He came into this race early stages, I know, in the championship, but I keep making the point how important points standings will be. It's worth keeping an eye on them, and Luke Herbert was 4 points ahead of Aidan Hills coming into this final race of the weekend, and Aidan a further 2 clear of Jack Harding. Well, Jack now leading the race, and Aidan having got past Will Stacey and Gary Townsend. Look, he is gaining some ground, but looks set to potentially lose that 2nd place in the championship to Jack Harding, depending on what he can do in the latter part of the race, of course. Harding has the fastest lap as well. We'll see whether or not that changes. Those 2 bonus points for fastest lap could prove pivotal. Simon Baldwin still 3rd, but the gap he's got over everybody else, so Simon might just be able to hang on to this podium. Patrick Fletcher is 4th, Patch as he's known effectively to friends and colleagues. And then Aidan Hills in 5th, Will Stacey 6th, Townsend 7th, and Bradley Kent in 8th, having a good drive. See whether he can maybe get himself a top 5. It's been a slightly frustrating weekend for him, really. 15th in race 1, 10th in race 2 earlier on this morning. Inside the top 10 now, though. It's not more like it for Bradley, who's called with the Lewis, will once again be touring car racing this year in various TCR championships around Europe. Will Stacey's off, though. Will Stacey off the road in front of them. Is he going to lose a position as a result of that, I wonder? He's rejoined the circuit somewhere. There he is, with dirt all over his tyres. Gets a headbutt from Gary Townsend for good measure, and somehow Will fends him off. Will in a car that, not the car that he raced in at the start of last year. He won that season opener at Silverstone and then promptly got the car written off through no fault of his own. The car behind lost its brakes and collided with him at very high speed. So Rob Boston Racing built him a whole new car, and that's the one he's driving now. He made appearances in the 2nd half of last season in it, and now he's back for a full season campaign in 2019. And the youngster, the former front-runner in Lotus Lease Racing, though, so he's got experience of rear-wheel drive machinery, dare I say slightly more powerful rear-wheel drive machinery than this as well, so he ought to be able to handle these things well, and indeed he proved that in that slippery race victory at Silverstone last year. That is, at the moment, though, still William Stacey's only podium result in the championship, which is amazing. It was a race victory as well. Can he get himself on the podium here? He's got a bit of work to do, hasn't he? Because the start of this race has not quite gone to plan for Will. He's in danger of being reeled back in again by these two, although having had that grassy moment at the start of the lap, he is now pulling clear again of Gary Townsend and Bradley Kent. Aidan Hills is attacking Patrick Fletcher for 4th. goes to the outside at Brundle, but Patrick, arguably driver of the day, really. I know he's not had a podium, and we've been spending a lot of time talking about the podium winners, but to make your debut in a championship this competitive, I can't begin to tell you how difficult it is to make an impression like this on your first appearance. But 2 fifth-place finishes, and now running in 4th place in race number 3, is a mighty impressive debut indeed. As I said in the previous race, he will have podiums, he'll probably have race wins this year. The championship in his first season is a little much to ask for, but who knows, if this is how he starts his season, imagine what it'll be like when he's got a few races under his belt. Patrick Fletcher will do well to keep Aidan Hills at bay though. Aidan's going to be fired up here after the start of the race not quite going to plan, and he really needs at very least to try and get 4th, and maybe if he gets into 4th place quickly, he might have time to chase down Simon Baldwin in 3rd. Goes to the outside at Riches. Aidan can't quite get through. Needs to keep his head here though. Aidan will say himself that, you know, although he was consistently on the podium last year, there was still the odd mistake that crept in, as you'd expect, because when you're fighting with people like Jack Harding and James Blake Baldwin and Luke Herbert, who have years of MX-5 experience under their belts, when you're fighting with them for championships, they rarely make mistakes. So if you make even 1 or 2, you'll be punished for them. And Aidan needs to try and just keep a level head here. 5th place is still some decent points. Probably has the pace to get past Fletcher at some point. He doesn't need to take any huge risks in doing it. He just needs to try and bag the points when he can. Things tend to have a habit of ebbing and flowing in this championship. And if you lose a couple of points here or there, you tend to gain them back again later on, as long as you don't do anything stupid. So Aidan will be very much thinking about the championship. He'll have the championship points in the back of his mind. But when he can see his 2 drivers perceived to be his biggest rivals for the title this year, 1st and 2nd, and he's only 5th. That is like red rag to a bull, isn't it? And he'll be really wanting to try and gain as many places as he can. So too is Bradley Kent, who's having by far his best race of the season. Oh, there was a car off then, and it was blue, and I really don't want to say it, but I think there were bits of orange on it, and Patrick Fletcher's going slowly. So as Aidan Hills, just as I was saying, needs to keep a level head. I think something's gone wrong. There's damage, look, to Patrick Fletcher's car, and yes, Aidan Hills is not there. Aidan Hills has gone off. There he is in the background. He's dropped outside the top 10 nearly. He's just behind George Grant. There's damage though to Patrick Fletcher's car, and he is touring back to the pitch, you have to imagine. Look at the damage to the front right corner. How's that happened? Because he was in front of Aidan Hills. If there's going to be damage on anyone's car, at the front of the car, at least you'd expect it to be Aidan's. But Patrick has the damage to the front of his number 29 machine, and he is out of the race. He's not even going to make it back to the pit lane. So what on earth happened there at Oggies? Well, either way, it's blown this race wide open as far as the final step of the podium is concerned, because Aidan and Patrick were both catching Simon Baldwin, who is still in 3rd place now as a result of their issue. There is Simon in 3rd, and his nearest challenger is now some way back, but his nearest challenger will be Will Stacey. So Will is sort of in no man's land now in 4th position. Gary Townsend 5th, and Bradley Kent in 6th position. This is a phenomenal drive now from Bradley. Yes, he's benefited from Aidan and Patrick going off, but Bradley Kent having one of his best showings in the Super Cup. I don't know what his best finish was last year, but I'm fairly certain he never had a top 5. He may not even have had a top 6. So the team on the pit wall, the Essex and Kent squad, his older brother Lewis is here cheering him on, so is his grandfather David. They'll all be biting their fingernails, I'm sure, on the pit wall as they watch young Bradley actually looking quicker than Gary Townsend now. So not only is he on for a really good result here, he could go one better. Into Agostini though, so sensibly just waits for a better opportunity. He'll have to keep an eye out though, as will all of this group, because Aidan Hills is trying to recover and he's not far behind them. So Townsend, Kent, and then David Henderson, I think that is. Yes, it is, the black and green number 36 car, just ahead of Will Stevenson, who was excluded for the contact that he had early on in race number 2. And you can't count an exclusion as a dropped score either, so we saw that put paid to any championship aspirations James Blake Baldwin had last year. Well, it won't have done Will Stevenson's points haul any good for the weekend either, because that has to count as a 0, so it's really not good news to be getting exclusion penalties this early in the season. Here comes the fight for 5th then. Gary Townsend has it. Bradley Kent, I think we all know, wants it, and he's looking up the inside into Brundle. We saw him making some sort of do-or-die lunges on George Grant in the previous race. He needs to just take a slightly more measured approach to this one. He's looking up the inside though towards the bomb hole. This isn't really an overtaking opportunity, but he's going for it. And Gary Townsend leaves him just enough room. He's gone through. Bradley Kent is into a top 5 position. This is brilliant stuff from the youngster. And the number 44 car is ahead of the AK Automotive machine of Townsend. He's into 5th. But none of them will want to see the blue and orange car of Aidan Hills arriving on their tail. But that's what's happened. Look, he's already made his move up the inside of Will Stevenson. So Aidan Hills has to get on with this now. He can still salvage a decent top 5 finish from this race. All is not lost. But he can't afford to get tangled up with anybody else on the way through. We don't know what happened between himself and Patrick Fletcher. We can't apportion any blame. But whatever it was, it's cost them both dearly. Fletcher out of the race and Hills out of the top 5, which he was looking comfortable for beforehand. There is Aidan. His next target then will be David Henderson, the number 36 in front of him, who I'm sure will defend the inside line down at Wilson. Oh, he did! Oh, Hills sideways! Can he save it? Yes, he can! And he gains 2 places in 1. Well, that was the move of the day. It was far from intended. I think he just outbraked himself trying to get past Henderson. And in front of him, Gary Townsend either ran wide of his own volition or maybe he saw the blue and orange torpedo arriving completely out of control behind him and thought maybe it was more sensible to backtrack out of the way. So Aidan Hills, despite very nearly losing control completely of the car, gains 2 positions there in one of the most spectacular bits of car control you're ever likely to see. Aidan, we always say that he's spectacular to watch, and he certainly has been in this race. Not necessarily always for the right reasons as far as he's concerned, but regardless of the end result, that will have put a smile on his face, I think, when he watches that back later. Brilliant stuff from Aidan Hills there, and he gains 2 places out of it all as well. It really didn't do Gary Townsend any good though, because Will Stevenson's gone past him as well, and now Hills is up the inside of Bradley Kent, who hands over the 5th position fairly easily in the end, and Aidan frantically waving at him saying, don't fight back, let's work together, because Will Stacey is, well, he's quite a long way in front, but if they work together they might catch him. Now, is this Bradley attacking Aidan and ignoring that advice, or is he defending from Will Stevenson? I think it's the latter, because Hills is still going to turn into the corner in 5th, but Bradley Kent is sideways, he's out of shape, oh, he's lost it, Bradley Kent's off the road, and Bradley throws away what was going to be his best finish in his Super Cup career. He was under immense pressure though, in fairness, and probably couldn't, oh, that's Simon Baldwin as well. Simon Baldwin's off from 3rd place, and Will Stacey is going to go through into a podium position. Oh, it's all going on again. In all 3 races this weekend, we've seen the action sort of all happening within moments of each other, and again it happens in race 3. Bradley Kent throws away 6th position, and Simon Baldwin really throws away 3rd. He was under no pressure at all from Will Stacey, and Simon Baldwin has handed the final step of the podium now to the youngster, who has a decent margin as well. And actually Simon did a good job there, finding some positive out of the situation, to rejoin in 4th without letting Aidan Hills catch him. But with still a few minutes left on the clock, there is time for Aidan to maybe be able to catch the number 16 car in front of him. Well, another drama-filled 3rd race. The top 2 positions are fairly static, I think. Luke Herbert is lapping fractionally quicker than Jack Harding out front, but I think Jack's probably just managing the pace. Then, this is the 3rd and 4th place pairing. Will Stacey 3rd, Simon Baldwin 4th, Aidan Hills 5th, Will Stevenson 6th. That's a good fight back after the exclusion earlier on. Gary Townsend 7th, and David Henderson is 8th. And then George Grant, I think that is in 9th possibly, just ahead of Nick Rutter, and Bradley Kent has rejoined, but outside the top 10, and what could have been a sensational result, unfortunately hasn't quite gone to plan. But he'll be back, and we look forward to seeing him back out in the championship for the rest of the season, Bradley, because top 5 finishes will come. He was out in the MX-5 Super Series to get a bit of track time before this Super Cup season started. He was out at Brands Hatch a couple of weeks ago in the Super Series, identical Mark III machines, in fact he was in the same car, and he was in the top 5 battles there as well. So the more experience that he gets of racing at the front of the field, the more comfortable he will get with racing there, and the less mistakes he'll make. And he is young, and like his brother Lewis, he's making fairly rapid progress actually in his racing career, which should be commended. But that was a costly mistake that I don't think he'll thank himself for later. And there's the leader, Jack Harding. Whilst it briefly calmed down for that, we'll check in on the race leaders. Jack Harding is going to come through to start another lap now, possibly the penultimate lap of the race. Luke Herbert is about a second behind him, so he might just be getting a whiff of a slipstream maybe. Let's see, they're coming down towards the first corner. Yeah, the gap came down again that time, so I'm not giving the victory to Jack Harding just yet. Luke Herbert would love to get a second win of the day. set the fastest lap as well on that lap in closing in on Jack Harding. So crucially, he's taken the 2 bonus points away, and much as we saw in the previous race where he finished second with fastest lap, he's now set to score exactly the same amount of points as the race winner, potentially, unless Harding can pull something out of the bag here in the later stages. What's really impressing me though is that Luke Herbert in the first race set the fastest lap on lap 5 out of 9, and on this race set it on lap 7, so he's clearly got tyre pressure set absolutely perfectly, and he's coming on really strong in the second half of the race. That is a little ominous for Jack Harding, although it must be said that Jack also just set a personal best lap on the previous lap, which would have been enough for the fastest lap had Herbert not immediately pipped him by a couple of tenths. So the gap came down by 2 tenths that time. Jack Harding, though, is fairly secure in this race lead for the time being, but if Herbert gets any closer, then he will potentially move right within striking distance. The gap not really shrinking massively as they come through the right-hander, so the AK Automotive squad can breathe a sigh of relief for the time being, while Boston Racing will be cheering on one of their several drivers out on the circuit in this race. Luke Herbert, the best placed of the RBR cars in this one. Look at the gap they've got over everybody else. The gap from second back to third is about 15 seconds at this point. It is still Will Stacey in that third position, with Simon Baldwin being reeled in by Aidan Hills, I can tell you. So Aidan Hills in fifth might just be able to salvage fourth position out of this race. It's still going to be a case of what could have been, because had he not at the moment, then he would have been in the catbird seat to capitalise from Simon Baldwin's spin, and he could potentially have got himself another podium, but that's looking less and less likely now as we run out of time in this third and final race of the weekend. Many things that we predicted coming into this season that have come to fruition, in that we expected it to be Harding, Hills and Herbert that had the podium positions, and Jack Harding is going to take the checkered flag, and that means that he is now a record equalling winner, a 15 times winner in the MX-5 SuperCup. Luke Herbert is second, and we have 3 different winners from the first 3 races of the season. That level of competition we also sort of predicted coming into the season, and I hope and I expect that it will continue throughout the rest of the year. Harding and Herbert first and second. Will Stacey back on the podium for the second time in his career, with Aidan Hills recovering to fourth. Simon Baldwin a disappointed fifth. Will Stevenson, Gary Townsend next in line, ahead of David Henderson, Nick Rutter and George Grant. The retirements: Patrick Fletcher, a very disgruntled Steve Roberts, Jack Sycamore and James Blake Baldwin, a non-starter. Well, Jack, you've completed the set now, then a third, a second and a race victory. I'm sure this was the sweetest of the races this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we've never had any success around Snetterton before, never had a podium, so to get on the podium this weekend was the aim, and get 3 podiums would be even better, but I'm always pushing for that win. Reverse grid. I was a little bit worried going into it, in all fairness. I thought it was going to be a little bit of mayhem, but I got a good start and got through the traffic really quick, and I knew that if I didn't get past Simon at the end of that straight on that first lap, then everybody else was going to be on me. So yeah, luckily managed to get into first and then just get that gap while they were all still battling behind. But such a hard place to lead around here, so many corners, so many places to make mistakes. I locked up a few times, and I could see Luke coming in the mirrors, but yeah, I just managed to hold him off.
Well, Luke, another second place finish, but 3 podium results here from the season opening weekend, and that's job done really, isn't it?
Yeah, I got the fastest lap in both second places, so 3 100-point results, so yeah, absolutely perfect. I mean, Jack drove phenomenally then, you know, to break away at the start and then hold a gap. It's the hardest thing to do around here. You've got the pressure of someone in your mirror. That I am, you know, I was quite far back, but I was still getting that essential toe. So for him to maintain the lead for 15 minutes is, you know, really good drive. Even if I'd have caught with him, he had the pace on me. So yeah, I just had a great race.
Well, Will, second career podium, not quite the repeat of the victory from the season opener last year, but that's not a bad way to end the day, is it?
No, it's brilliant. I mean, I just stayed in it to pick up the pieces. I didn't really see it coming. I think I was in 6th, and then Aidan and Patrick took each other out. They had a crash, and then Simon spun out, so it kind of fell into my hands, really.
Sometimes you need that luck, though, don't you?
Yeah, it went my way somehow. No, I'm pleased.
And slightly better conditions than the last podium you had at Silverstone last time out as well. You're clearly getting to grips with this car now in all conditions.
Yeah. Still got a bit of pace to find, but I'm getting used to it. I feel happy driving it now. I've done so many laps in it. It just comes second nature.
Well, we'll see you back out again at Alton Park, and best of luck for that one.
Oh, I didn't even know that's the next race, but it's great to know. Thanks. Thank you.
Cheers, Will. So 3 races here at Snetterton, 3 different race winners and a championship that could not be any more finely poised as we head to Cheshire for the next 3 races, all in a single day on the Alton Park International Circuit. Join us then to see what happens.